Hello, I'm Pocket here, back again playing some more Magic the Gathering Arena. And it is release of Throne of Eldraine, so lots of things we can do. Pretty excited to get into it. I do, for this video, have my 50 packs from the pre-order to open. When I launched the game, it kind of redeemed everything for me, so we didn't get to see all the exciting redeem stuff, but we got all the different starter decks, which come with, my understanding is, any cards that are in here that I didn't already have, it would give them to me. So there's some stuff in here that maybe we can use. So they're updated with since rotation for new players. We'll probably just end up deleting them again, but that's okay. We'll see what's in those at some point before I do that. So we have the mono ones and the dual color ones, and that's awesome. There's something new here. This is cool, telling me what's missing. Oh, historic cards. Okay. Excellent. So it's telling me that this one's 30 of the 60 cards are historic only. That's pretty good. 36. Yeah. Awesome. So that means we have the new play thing, the historic thing. That's awesome. Alright, let's poke around, see what we got. So obviously the mastery deal is done. Nothing we can do here. Now, yeah, I didn't get any orbs because I didn't get to level 9. So I can't do any of the mastery tree stuff. Okay, that's cool. We're going to worry about that for Eldraine once this flips. We'll maybe buy into it for Eldraine. I did watch Merchant's video on the updated Wolves deck, the Asban Wolves, added the black splash, and I'm really excited to play it. I don't know how good it's actually going to be, but I'm going to do it anyways because it's a fun deck. But let's open these packs, and we will see what we get. Now, I did get one of the Garricks as part of the pre-order, so I got the Garrick and the art card style for it, so I'm hoping to get 2 or 3 more Garricks. I think we need 3 for the deck. I'll have to bring it up when I go to build it. I think he put 3 Garricks, so hopefully get 1 or 2 more. We definitely need some rare and mythic wild cards if we don't get the cards we need, because I think I need like 10 rares. And we'll see what we get. Pack 1. I've been trying to avoid spoilers, so there's some stuff I have seen, obviously. There's a rare, that's good. There's some stuff I've seen you can't avoid it if you're at all active on the internet playing Magic and watching YouTube, but I have avoided like full set reviews until after I've opened these packs. So let's see what we get here. Wintermoor Commander, Human Knight, so there's definitely the Knight theme. 2-0. When Wintermoor Commander's toughness is equal to the number of knights you control, whenever Commander attacks, another target knight you control gains indestructible on a turn. That's kind of cool. I mean, I don't know how great it is, but I will apologize in advance for my cold. I'm on cold medicine, so my brain doesn't quite work, but I'm really excited to open these packs. We're going to do this. Cold be damned. I'm going to try to avoid the sniffling, but you'll probably hear some. So hopefully that doesn't bother too many people. Inquisitive Puppet, like Pinocchio. A 0-2 construct for 1. Puppet enters the battlefield, scry 1. Exile Puppet, create a 1-1 white human. He becomes a real boy. Creates a 1-1 human creature token. That's cute. Alright. Golden Egg enters the battlefield, draw a card. Sacrifice Golden Egg, add 1 mana of any color. Or gain 3 life for 2 mana. Okay. Put any number of target creature cards from your graveyard on top of your library and draw a card. It's not bad if you're doing the recursion deal. Self-mill type stuff, maybe. Knight of the Keep. 3-2 for 3. Merfolk Secret Keeper. Adventure card. Target player puts the top 4 cards of the library in the graveyard for 1 mana. And then a 0-4 for 1. That's in the mill deck. I mean, 0-4 is a pretty common creature stat line for mill decks, just to put a blocker on the field. So, not too bad, if that's your style. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. If at least 3 black mana was spent to cast a spell, create a food token. Yeah, so definitely the strong food theme. This doesn't go into our thing, but we'll get it for our rare. Hushbringer. Shh. Flying lifelink creatures entering the battlefield or dying don't cause abilities to trigger. That's interesting. This would actually be good against my deck, my wolf deck, because that means things like Tolstamir don't go off, so that sucks. Alright, next pack. Again, I'm not the authority on evaluating cards. I'm kind of evaluating based on my own personal play style and what I see. So, Joust. 2 mana, choose target creature you control and target creature you don't control. The creature you control gets +2/+1 until in turn if it's a knight. Then those creatures fight each other. So, fight card with a bonus if you're running knights. Wasting a card for it's a little harder. Elite Headhunter 4. Rakdos. Menace. Menace 2/3. That's not bad. Not bad at all. It means early on it can't be blocked. I mean, it's 4 mana for a 2/3. That's a little eh. 3 mana, sacrifice another creature or artifact. Elite Headhunter deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Not sure I'm a big fan, but I mean, in that playstyle, maybe it works really well. Ardenvale Tactician, Human Knight. 3 mana for a 2/3 flyer. That's not terrible. I mean, for a common, definitely in limited, this would be a good card. I wouldn't be afraid. I wouldn't be sad to run it. For 2 mana, tap up to 2 target creatures. Again, very good, pretty good in limited, I think. Not sure what, other than maybe something in a blue-white flyers, it may have room, but I doubt it. You do get some value having two effects on one card, so you can use the best one for you. But yeah, I don't know. It won't be able to attack with the tapped creature, so you'll have to have something on the table already to capitalize on it, I guess. Curious Pair. Hansel and Gretel. 2 mana, 1/3. Again, 2 mana 2/2s are good. 2 mana 1/3 if you're on the defense, but typically you want to be. I think you want to be aggressive in this format more than anything, especially in green. Create a food token for 1 mana. So some mana fixing, sacrifice to gain life, that sort of thing. Again, if you have a food theme, that's not terrible. Probably more limited than anything. Brimstone Trebuchet. I did see this one already. 3 mana 1/3 with Defender and Reach. So okay. Tap Trebuchet deals 1 damage to each opponent. So this is like if you're playing a multiplayer game, like Commander or something, you can hit everybody. And whenever a knight enters the battlefield under control, and tap it. So not bad for a pinger. 3 mana is a little slow, but most of the pingers I've used in the past have been 3 mana. Equip creature gets +1 and 0 as long and has haste. Equip 1. So giving creatures haste is not a 0 benefit ability. +1 is what it is. Garen Brig Squire, 2 mana 2/2, so a bear. Whenever you cast a creature spell that has adventure, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. If it was permanent, that'd be killer, but it also wouldn't be common, and probably wouldn't be 2 mana. Castle Vantress. I don't really play a lot of blue, but let's take a look. This could go into like a blue-red deck. I'm kind of toying with the idea of still trying that. Castle Ventress enters the battlefield tapped unless you control an island. Okay, that's pretty common for the rare lands. So if it's your second land, it doesn't come into play tapped. If it's an island, that's good. And 4 mana Scry 2. It's good late game. You're trying to dig for something in a blue deck. I can see that. All right, next pack. I don't play a lot of blue, but again, I'm going to try that red-blue. I'm going to try to keep that alive because I did have a lot of fun with it. I think the Aggro Wizards deck is the one with like 36 cards that are rotated, so that's probably gone, but there might still be something in that casting spells, blue-red spells matter deck. Claim the Firstborn, Rumpelstiltskin. Gain control of target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste. Unless you couple it with like a sack effect at the end of the turn, maybe. Although, it does get in for some damage. Again, that's not really the style I play, even when I'm playing red. Although it could be of something. I'd much rather haster at 1 mana. Slaying Fire deals 3 damage to any target. If at least 3 mana, red mana was spent to cast the spell, deals 4 damage instead. So 3 mana for 3 is decent. I mean, that's with Lightning Bolt rotated out. It's kind of we're used to casting that in the red damage decks. 3 mana for 4 damage, and it's any target. So it's pretty much in a mono red. It's definitely better than Lava Coil because you can target planeswalkers, you can target face. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I can see that one showing up in burn decks for sure. Bloodhaze Wolverine. Whenever you draw Wizard's Lightning was 3/2, wasn't it? Unless you had a wizard? I think so. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, Bloodhaze Wolverine gets +1/+1 against first strike until end of turn. Draw your second card. So again, probably not really going to see play in Constructed, though in like the blue-red spells matter. You're drawing a lot of cards. Potentially could do something, but uh-oh. Okay. There's just some current issues. I don't know what those current issues are yet, so hopefully we don't run into them. But it's good to know that they're aware of them. Alright. So I don't think this will see playing Constructed in a blue-red or blue-red. Like, limited deck could be something. It would be nice if it was at least a bear, but it is red, so 2 mana, 2/1 is ish. Common. Steel Gaze Griffin. I like griffins. It's interesting to see a blue griffin. Usually they're white for the most part. 5 mana, 2/4 flying. Whenever you draw your second card, it gets +2/+0 until turn. So at best, it's a 4/2 flyer for 5. It's a little slow. I can see it in limited. I don't see it seeing much play in constructed, and that's okay. They got to have limited cards. That's a very popular format. I have to get back into it. I used to enjoy it immensely, but I just haven't had the time to really. Borrow Witches, 5 mana, 3/4 again. Borrow Witches enters the battlefield, return target night card from the graveyard to your hand. Okay, so it's more for the recurring, the knights, than anything, I would imagine. And it's an okay blocker, but at 5 mana, it's a little slow. Again, I don't know a lot about how the format's going to shake out, so this could be par for the course. It's close, in my mind. Tuinvale Treefolk Druid, 6 mana, 6/5. For 4 mana, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It's common. It's a common card. It's got the power level to match it. It's a common wild card. Mythic. So we'll use that. That's good. That's basically a Garrick. We'll accept. Next pack. Yeah, I think we need 5 Mythics. I think Great Henge is Mythic as well, and we haven't seen one of those. It's another uncommon. We have a lot of those. That's okay, though. Mara Leaf Rider. 2/1, or 2 mana, 3/1. Sacrifice food token, target creature, blocks. Okay, so it's kind of a taunt card. Kind of a wasting a food token and a card for removal, but okay. Yeah, so limited card, I would say. It's a knight, though, so if you're hard up for knights and you got a lot of knights that buff knights, a lot of cards that buff knights, that might be something. But on its own, it's pretty meh. Tempting Witch. When Tempting Witch enters the battlefield, create a food token. 3 mana, 1/3. Sacrifice food target player loses 3 life, so it kind of flips it. That's kind of cool, you know, Snow White style. So instead of gaining 3 life, you can do the same thing, but deal 3 damage, so interesting. I could see some potential there, potentially. Potentially. Depends on how easy it is to get incidental food as well. I do see a lot of cards that just bring food to the table. True Love's Kiss, 4 mana, exile target artifact or enchantment and draw a card. Sideboard card for sure, I would say. If you see a lot of enchantments and artifacts, bring it in from the side for the second game. Yeah. Especially in limited. And again, it'll depend on how. There are a lot of artifacts, there are a lot of equipment cards, so could be something, but I don't think there's a lot of artifacts that really turn the game, so some enchantments. Reaper of Night, 7 mana, 5 and 2 black, 4/5. It's a pretty hefty card. 4, Harvest Fear. Target opponent discards 2 cards for 4 mana, and they get to choose. Whenever Reaper of the Night attacks, if defending player has 2 or fewer cards in hand, it gains flying until end of turn. So this is definitely like, pick this in limited. Kind of a curve topper for limited. Other than that, it may see some. I doubt it, but there's probably a lot better cards at under 7 mana for black. Youth Knight 2 and First Strike, that's pretty typical. White Weenies will see that. Definitely a decent in limited for a common. Thunderous Snapper. 4 Simic. Whenever you cast a spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater, draw a card. I mean, that's cool. You know, you play this before you play a Hydra Crisis, maybe? Same colors? Cool. It is a Hydra turtle. Oh, it is right there. It says it right there. I saw the picture, but there it is right there. So, Hydra deck. Cool. Yeah, this is going to take a minute, because I am going to look at each card, because again, this is kind of the first time I'm seeing a lot of these cards. Wishclaw Talisman, 2 mana. 1 and a black, artifact. Wishclaw Talisman enters battlefield with 3 wish counters on it. Okay, wish counters, cool, so like a wish. 1 and tap, remove a wish counter from Wishclaw Talisman, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library, so that's cool. Go fetch your 1 card you need at that moment. I like it. An opponent gains control of Wish Call Talisman. Activate this ability only during your turn. Okay, so it's 3 wishes, so you use it once and then give it to your opponent. And then they can use it or not. And if they use it, it comes back to you, you get 1 more use. Interesting. I imagine we will see this. I'm not sure how good it will be, but I imagine we will see people trying to use it. Maybe if there's some way to use it and remove it. You know? Yeah, like this. But that's a pretty expensive way to... Because Mastermind's acquisition was more than... Was it more than 4? That probably was. I don't remember. I've never actually used Mastermind's acquisition or any of the other real... Never really did a lot of wish spells. Next pack. Another common. Beloved Princess. 1 mana, 1/1 lifelink. Beloved Princess can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. Okay. So it can be sneaky later in the game, but a 1/1 lifelink for 1. White Weenie limited, especially. 3 mana, 1/5 with reach. That's a pretty typical green card. It's a nice fat butt for blocking, so... And we all know that green has a problem blocking flyers a lot of the time, so you got to use these... Well, it doesn't have a problem, because you have access to them. Locthwain Paladin. 4 mana, 3/2. Human Knight with Menace. Can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. If at least 3 mana was spent to cast this spell, Locthwain with a +1/+1. So it can be a 4 mana, 4/3 with Menace. If they block it, they're going to use 2 creatures. It's probably going to die. It's a good common card. We'll see play in Limited. And again, Knights Matters, decks maybe. I don't know what else we have for Knights, but I imagine there are some really good ones. Scalding Cauldron, 1 mana artifact. 3 colorless tap, Scalding Cauldron, it deals 3 damage to target creature. Alright, so it's basically like a burn spell in any color. Slower, it's 4 mana for the same effect, but you can... Again, if you're not in red and you need that 3 damage, it's probably not bad. Oakhome Ranger. Green-white hybrid mana. I don't know why. Celestia? Almost didn't remember the name. Create 2 1/1 human tokens for 4 mana. Oof, steep. But again, in a tokens deck, maybe. Tapped creatures you can get +1/+1 till end of turn. So it's a pseudo lord for 4 mana, 2/2. I don't know. I'm not on this card. Again, we'd have to see what like a Celestia tokens deck looks like. Maybe that'll be awesome. Lots of tokens that get buffed. That's got potential. Order of Midnight. Riding a crow. Human Knight. 2 mana, 2/2 flying. Order of Midnight can't block. That's a fair flying bear. I mean, 2 mana, 2/2 is baseline in green and sometimes in black. So adding flying is not too bad. It can't block, but that's fine because if you're flying, you want to get that through. You're flying to get through the damage, not block anyway. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So again, remember you have to cast a spell on these adventure cards before the creature. If you've cast the creature, you can't then use the spell. Unless you find a way to put it back in your hand. But graveyard hand, so you got a bit of recursion. If you don't need the flying body, you got a flying body. You can do a turn 2, turn 3 type deal. All right. Charming Prince. 2 mana, 2/2 bear. Rare. Human Noble. When Charming Prince enters the battlefield, choose 1. So you can scry 2, you can gain 3 life, or exile another target creature you own. Return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of your next untap step. I like this card simply because it does a lot. It can be what you need at the time. If you're against an aggro deck, the 3 life is not negligible. If you have a creature with an enter battlefield effect, or you can scry 2 if you really just need to dig for something. I like this card. I can see this probably in every white deck, every white weenie deck for sure. Just because there's effects on it that really matter. Currently there's nothing here that has an enter battlefield effect, but yeah, excellent card. I like it. Definitely going to show up in a lot of white decks. There's another Wolverine. We've already seen that. Searing Barrage. 5 mana instant. Searing Barrage deals 5 damage to target creature. If at least 3 mana was spent to cast the spell, Searing Blaze deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. So this is a pretty good topper for like a burn deck. 5 mana, 5. I mean, a lot of burn decks sort of rest on 3 or 4 mana, so you may have trouble casting it, but especially in mono red, you're going to get the adamant effect as well. So that's 8 damage, removes a creature. More value if it's a planeswalker, but take out a big creature and deal 3 damage is not terrible at 5 mana. I doubt we'll see like lots of them. It may be like a sideboard card for a red deck against, say, green. Maybe even against White Weenie or something. Something that plays big creatures. Lochthwain Gargoyle. 1 mana, 0/3. So that's a decent blocker. Gives you some breathing room against aggro decks. 4 mana, gets +2, +0 until end of turn, and gains flying. So it's basically a 4 mana 2/3 flyer. That's not great at that point. As a 1 mana 0/3, if you need to be on the defense, that's not terrible. I mean, 1 mana 0/4 is better, which is what you see. But then again, it's an artifact. It's not in any colors, so you have to take some hit to effectiveness. Though the decks that want a 1 mana 0/4, they're in that's blue. They're in that color. Hengewalker. Creature Golem, 3 mana 2/2. If at least 3 mana of the same color was spent to cast a spell, it enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. So in a mono deck, it's a 3 mana 3/3, which is vanilla. That's your vanilla. That's a can't words anymore. It's fine. 3 mana. It's fine. It's a fine card. This will be decent in mono or light splash limited. 3 mana 3/3 is nothing to be overly excited about. Although in an artifacts matter deck, tokens matter deck. Silver Flame Ritual, 4 mana sorcery, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Interesting. If at least 3 white mana was spent to cast this spell, creatures are going to regain vigilance until end of turn. So, in a White Weenie deck, give them a buff, give them vigilance so you can swing and still have defenders. Not terrible. Probably definitely see some play. It is sorcery speed. It'd be interesting if it was, well, no, you wouldn't want it to be instant because you tap them before. So you definitely want to cast it before combat. But it'd be nice to be able to throw in the white +1/+1 counters in response to an attack or something. Shambling Suit, 3 mana 0/3. Shambling Suit's power is equal to the number of artifacts and or enchantments you control. So in a deck built for it, it could be a good card. It's still only at 3 defense, so it's easy to remove. You know, if it was maybe a 0/3 with +1/+1 for each artifact, but then that'd be stupid powerful. Never mind. That's fine. It's just, again, it'd be easy to remove. There's a lot of removal that'll kill it, including most of the direct damage spells of 2 or higher. So, Rally for the Throne at 3 mana. Create 2 1/1 white human tokens. If at least 3 mana was spent to cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. 3 mana for 2 1/1s is, I was kind of there. It's not great. In a White Weenie deck with Lords and boosting, sure. This would have been nice if it was create 4. The adamant would have been maybe create 4. It would have made it really good. Maybe it'd have to be a rare at that level, but I could see this if you're doing like an Ajani life gain deck as well. So you get White Warrior tokens, but you also buff your Ajani. It might be worth it. Okay. There's room for it. It's not exciting me. Acclaimed Contender. So far we haven't seen any cards I need. I would like some of the rare lands because I always feel bad spending my tokens on land, even though I know they're good value because you can use them in multiple decks. Still feels bad. When Acclaimed Contender enters, okay, so it's a 3 mana 3/3, so it's not a bear. Whatever the next up is, I don't know why I can't remember it. Isn't it Hill Giant 3/3? Yeah, it might be Hill Giants. When Acclaimed Contender enters the battlefield, if you control another knight, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a knight, aura, equipment, or legendary artifact from among them and put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in the order. Okay. Yeah, in a Knights deck, a White Weenie deck, anywhere where there's Knights, this could be of value because you get a vanilla body, but you do get a big, what is it? Anticipate 5 mana for 3. Look at the top 5 cards and choose a Knight, or yeah, so in a Knight deck for sure, this is coming. It would almost be nice if it was also a Lord, but that'd probably be a little bit overpowered. Be a little more exciting, but that gets you the cards you need. Oh, there's another Mythic. That's perfect. So we can definitely afford all of our Garrick's now, and maybe our Stonehenges, or our Great Henges. Prophet of the Peak, 6 mana, 5/5. It's an artifact, so that's alright. It's a cat. It's cool. It's a lion with horns. Huh, okay. And Scry 2. So, not a great card. Limited, yes. For limited. There's better scries and there's better bodies in blue where you'd want, but in a color that doesn't get a lot of scry, maybe. But 6 mana is pretty hefty. I don't think that's a constructed card unless it's very specific, very niche. We've sold 2 mana, destroy target creature with power 3 or less. Okay, yeah. There's lots of aggro decks. This would be fine. Fine card, especially in limited. Fortifying Provisions, 3 mana. Creatures you control get, it's an enchantment. +0/+1. Fortifying Provisions enters the battlefield, create a food token. I'm not hot on that. Again, unless you're doing something with food. That's, yeah. Lash of Thorns. 1 mana instant. +2/+1 and death touch till end of turn. Yeah. We've seen this effect. It happens. Very easy to get in constructed, blown out 2 for 1 with these combat tricks, but in limited for sure. If you do an attack and someone blocks with something big, you can death touch. If he doesn't, you do more damage. So tiny. Blue. 1 blue mana for an aura, flash, enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets -2/-0, gets -6 instead as long as this controller has 7 more cards in the graveyard. Interesting. For blue decks, control decks, anything that can take creatures out of the running and stop them from doing damage is helpful. Especially if you're milling, you're going to easily get them to 7 cards in the graveyard real quick. So it's a common blue card. Again, not my style. I don't play a lot of that style, but I can see some value there. Black and a red. Equipment. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. That's not nothing for 2 mana. Equip Knight is 1 and Equip Other is 3. So in a Knight's deck for sure, I could see this being a thing. Moving a +2/+2 counter around as you need it. There's an uncommon. Castle Locked Wayne. I think we need one of these for our decks. That's awesome. I'm glad to see it. Castle Locked Wayne enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp. Tapped out of black mana, tap 3 to tap to draw a card, then lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. So yeah, this is just an excellent little card. It's a land, it's a black mana. Sometimes lands are tapped, sometimes not. But that's okay. If it's entering tapped, it means it's early, probably. And yeah, not a bad thing to have later on when you just need to find some cards. Yeah, I think we're running 2 of those. We'll be running 2 of those in our deck. I'd have to look it up again, I don't remember. We're on pack 8. This is going to take a hot minute. I hope you guys don't mind just me rambling. This is exciting for me. I love doing this. This is like my favorite thing about a new set. Even when I was in Paper Magic, would be buying a box or, you know, the 6-pack starter boxes or just some packs and just opening them and looking at all the new cards. The only thing missing is the smell. That chemical new card smell. I think that's the only thing missing. I still occasionally buy a booster pack just to open it. Wishful Merfolk. Defender. So 2 mana 3/2 that's decent with Defender, so it can't attack. Okay. For 2 mana, Wishful Merfolk loses Defender and becomes a human until end of turn. So for 2 mana, it's a 3/2 that can attack. That's not terrible. You're doing that on turn 3 when you could be playing a 3 card. Now in a blue deck, it may be something. Though typically a blue deck that's slow enough isn't going to be attacking. They're going to want to defend, which means I would see this flipped 3/2 Defender for 2 with this ability, maybe, because it would fit kind of the theme of that deck. I don't know. There's definitely a place. Limited, it'll be fine, because later in the game you have extra mana you can use to attack with it, so it's a cheap blocker early. There's that Curious Pair again, Reaper of the Night again, Signpost Scarecrow. Oh, cool art. The art in this set, a lot of it is just incredible. I mean, I already talked about it with the Ferocious Pup, one of my favorite arts. It's on all my desktops and my tablet background right now. So, 4 mana, 2 for Vigilance. Okay. 2 to add a mana of any color. So it's kind of mana fixing, but it's got a cost. You're paying 1 mana to get any other color. 4 mana, 2/4 isn't great, but with Vigilance, this means you can attack and still block. It's not terrible. Not a terrible artifact, especially in limited. There's that Youthful Knight again, typical white card. Trail of Crumbs. 2 mana. When Trail of Crumbs enters the battlefield, create a food token. So it's an enchantment. Uncommon, 2. When you sacrifice a food, you may pay 1. If you do, look at the top 2 cards of your library. You may reveal a permanent card from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom. Okay. So if you're going to sacrifice the food for any reason, so you can pay the 2 mana, tap it, sack it to gain 3 life. If you pay an extra mana, you can scry 2. Or no, you scry and then draw, essentially scry 2, draw. Which may have even been better, say scry 2 and then draw. but that works. No, because Scry would allow you to put both on the bottom, draw a new card. No, this is... Okay, sorry. That's why it's not Scry. Oh, blowing my nose just blew my mind right out my ears. Okay. Good card. For a green deck, you may need that effect. You're throwing down... Seems like green has a lot of food creation. You do see a lot of that in it. I mean, right there. There's a create a food for 1 mana, which you can then sack for 3 life and pay an extra mana to draw a card. Or you can sack it. There's some creatures coming. There's one we're putting in our deck. Or a Savvy Hunter, which does stuff with food. You could sacrifice it to do benefits and still also do this. So that's cool. I can see that being an interesting card in some decks. Order of Midnight again. Iron Crag Pyromancer. I'm assuming Iron Crag is a place, because it would otherwise it'd be Iron. Okay, with an O. 3 mana for 0/4 whenever you draw your second card each turn. So in my, my Is It Wizards deck, or whatever I end up doing there, this would be a card I can use. The problem is that Planeswalker, he's a jerk. Narset, I think it's Narset, where you can't draw, you can only draw 1 card each turn. Kind of negates it, but that's 1 card, so it's still a decent card. If you ignore Narset, this is a great card. Now, if you can get rid of him, fine. Every time you draw it, so it's basically going to be an... Yes, I know. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Woo! What was I saying? 3 damage every time you draw your second card in a deck that likes to draw cards. That's perfect. I like it. That's probably going to end up in my blue-red, at least to try. So it looks like we're getting more cards for my blue-red than I am for my Wolves deck, but that's okay. So far I haven't seen anything except the land, I think. I am hoping to be able to get those Paradise Druids, as we talked about. Okay, opt, reprint. I like the art. Choosing between 2 great cards. Scry 1, draw card. Yeah, that's good, because I have 4 of them in my red-blue already, and I was pretty sure that was reprinted. I thought I heard that. Wishful Merfolk we got. Charmed Sleep, 3 mana, enchanted creature. When Charmed Sleep enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creatures and tap turns, runs, tap step. Okay, Sleep. Although permanent, yeah. I don't remember what I don't play blue enough to remember what the mana costs on the previous iterations of this card were. But yeah, it sees play. Definitely unlimited. There's that golden egg again. There's the signpost. Heraldric Banner we looked at when we were building our wolf deck. It's another Lord type card. This one's got mana fixing though, so in more mana intensive decks this might be of benefit. Although I think the other one that we had put in it is better, though I don't even think that's in the new deck that Merchant played, so they're uncommon. That's good. We will spend those. Emery, Lurker of the Loch. Is this the Lady of the Lake? Play on that. I do love the theme of this set. I know it's... Some people think it's a little cartoony, but well, we can talk about that at some other point. Let's keep going. I don't think I have the brain to talk about that right now. Merfolk. Probably a wizard. Maybe a warlock. Oh, wizard. It's up here. Shows up on the top. Merfolk Wizard. Okay. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control. Okay. When Emery Lurker of the Loch enters the battlefield, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. So that self-milling bit. Choose target artifact in your graveyard. You may cast it this turn. Interesting. I can see some people will be playing with this maybe with a... Is Tezzeret Master of the Bridge or whatever his name is still in? I could see an artifact deck coming of all this. There's lots of artifacts matter showing up. Interesting. That was never my style, although I can see it being a lot of fun. Yeah, oh, good. Good, we can use those. Crashing Drawbridge. So we're going to skip the Garen Bridge Square. We already read it. 2 mana, 0/4 defender. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. I mean, it's not a nothing effect. But at 2 mana, you probably have a better drop at that point. Redcap Raiders. 3 mana, 3/2. That's pretty typical for red. Whenever Redcap Raider attacks, you may tap an untapped non-human creature you control. If you do, Redcap Raider gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. So it becomes a 4/3 trample if you have anything else on the table. That's not terrible, especially in limited. Red aggro decks that are creature-based, I can see this being at least something, potentially. Haste is missing, but what you gonna do? Lonesome Unicorn. Oh, poor guy. Create a 2/2. Oh, Rider needed. Oh, Rider in need. Create a 2/2 White Knight creature token with vigilance. So everything with vigilance. Okay, well, Again, in limited, that's definitely not terrible. 3 mana for 2/2 Vigilance isn't great, and 5 mana for a 3/3 Vigilance isn't great, but sometimes in limited you can't be picky. Vast Casket. Sleeping Beauty, okay. When Glass Casket enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or less until Glass Casket leaves. So 2 mana, Prison Realm type effect. As an artifact, which is slightly, well, I would say slightly easier to get rid of, but not really, because often things that can do enchantments can also do artifacts and vice versa. Okay. Yeah, good card. It's cheaper for smaller creatures, so if you wanted 4 Prison Realm effects or exile effects, you could totally do that. That's not bad at all. I've already seen the Elite Headhunter. I'm lukewarm on it. Stolen by the Fae, 2 mana X. Blue spells with X in their name always kind of scare me. Return target creature with converted mana cost X to its owner's hand. You create X 1/1 blue fairy creature tokens with flying. That is excellent. In the type of deck that would play this effect, 2 mana X to return target creature is However, the fact that you also get fairies, a lot of these decks will have things to do with those fairies, buff them or sacrifice them, all sorts of things. So I don't know what else we've seen, but typically when you see something like this, it means we've got some stuff to use those fairies. So there could be, what, so far, blue-black fairies again? Fairy Vandal. Okay. Opt. Ember Hearth Paladin. 4 mana, 4/1 with haste. I mean, that's a red card. Back in the day, I played with a lot of the, hasty, 1 toughness attackers. It was a lot of fun. Haste. If at least 3 mana was spent to cast Ember Hearth Paladin enters with a +1/+1 counter, so it becomes a 5/2. It's still going to die, so it's not a great card in a super aggro deck, but 4 is a pretty slow casting cost. In a Knight's Matter deck, you could get something out of this. Something, if you can boost its toughness up to 3, 4, this would be an alright card to put on turn 4. But how do you get there? Smitten Swordmaster, 2 mana, 2/1 in black with lifelink. That's pretty typical black card. Child of the Night, 2 mana, 2/1 lifelink, I think I want to say. And it's also a knight, so in a Knight's Matters deck. Sorcery, Curry Favor for 1 black. Sorcery. You gain X life, and each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of knights you control. Yeah, so very much a Knight's Matters deck. See it unlimited if you get a lot of knights. Black-white seems to have a lot of knights, so maybe that's like the new vampires. Knights instead of vampires now. We saw that already. Gingerbread Cabin. Oh, isn't that cute? I like this. That should have been just a forest, but it gets its own card. It is a forest. Gingerbread Cabin enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more forests. Other forests. When Gingerbread Cabin enters the battlefield, create a food token. Yeah. It's not a bad ad if you're playing like a mono green. Why not? Extra food tokens. Just hopefully you don't end up with 3 of them in your opening hand. And even then, the first one only comes in tapped, so you can't play your Gilded Goose. But not a bad card. I like it. It's a forest with extra. I guess it'd be your first 2 if you got 3 of them in your opening hand. Okay. It's all good. Again, common land, I like them. I like lands that do things. I wish more lands just did things instead of just being a forest. I wish more of the common, like, basic lands just did things. 3 mana, 2/2 flyer. Sure. Sure. I mean, in a blue-white flyers deck in limited, sure. Each creature you control that has an adventure enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1. Oh, that's neat. So any of these cards here, that when they become in as creatures, whether you've played the adventure or not, get a +1/+1 counter. That's not terrible if you have a lot of that. That's good. I see that synergy. That's cool. Fairy Vandal, 2 mana, 1/2 flash, flying. That's a pretty typical blue card. We've seen a few of these. Either 1/2 or 2/1. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Fairy Vandal. I could see this going into my red-blue deck. Now, it's easy to remove. It dies to absolutely everything. But I mean, that can be said about a lot of cards. So I can see that going into my blue-red deck as well. Lots of card draw in there. So I'm trying to broaden my horizons out of aggro decks and mid-range decks into gimmicky, control-y type stuff. Did I see this card already? No. So 3 red-green. Exile top 5 cards of your library. You may play exile cards exiled this way until the end of your next turn. You may play an additional land this turn. That's not terrible. I mean, in the deck it's good in. It's a good card. It lets you put value into exile and then pick which ones you use. So that's always a good thing. And playing an additional land in a rampy style green deck is, yeah, I like it. I like it. Something there. I mean, I don't know if it's amazing. I don't know if it'll see constructed play at the higher ends, but I like to play fun decks too. So 2 mana, 1 and a black, Malevolent Noble, 2/2 for 2. So a bear. Okay, baseline, it's playable. In a limited deck, if you got this, you would be neither happy nor sad. Tap 2, sacrifice an artifact or other creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Malevolent Noble. And it's not tapped, so you could spend 4 mana and bring it up to a 4/4. You could, so buffable long term, so later in the game, if you have a lot of tokens, white-black has a lot of tokens, it's just certainly playable in that. Could be something. Especially if you attack and they block, and it's not going to kill their creature anyway, so you sack it to your Malevolent Noble, or you block, chump block and sack, because you're not going to kill it anyway, something like that. There's some value here. Get value out of those chump blockers. We saw the Tree Folk. Mantle of Tides, blue, 1 blue. Artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+2. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, attach Mantle of Tides to target creature control. We see a lot of the second card each turn in blue lately. That's pretty interesting. It's all right. I probably won't play it unless there's like a mono blue or a very aggro blue-red. But again, aggro, you'd want this flipped. This is more of a defensive thing. So maybe a control deck might see it, but there's probably better cards. 3 mana, 3/2. It's white weenie dude for limited. That's fine. Scorching Dragonfire. Did we see this already? No. 2 mana, Scorching Dragon Fire deals 3 damage to a creature or planeswalker. Nice. If that creature or planeswalker would die, exile it instead. All right. Yeah, that's great. That's going into red burn decks all over the world. It doesn't burn face, which is a little sad, so it's probably more of a sideboard deal. Actually, now that I say that, it's only creature or planeswalker, so maybe won't see it all over the place, but if there's room, they'll wedge it in for that extra little bit, take out planeswalkers. If planeswalkers are still a problem, and still and I'm assuming they're going to be because World of Spark is still in, there'll be planeswalkers everywhere, so. Wintermoor Commander. Orzhov. Well, not really. White-black. Death Touch, 2/0. Did I already see this one? Yes. See, but this here, yes, it's a 2/0 with Death Touch for 2 mana. It comes in as a 2/1 because it's a knight itself. Wintermoor Commander's toughness is equal to the number of knights you control. When it attacks other knights you control, gain indestructible on turns. So this is an instance where, by itself, it's a 2/1 Death Toucher. That's pretty decent black or white card. But the toughness grows, which means as you get more knights, this becomes more useful. You can block bigger creatures without it dying and still kill them. So I like this card. I like this card in a white-black knights deck. I think I would put it in at least a 2 or 3 of, maybe more, in any sort of Orzhov knights deck. Yep. That's my off-the-cusp value of it. Simic Fairy. Maraleaf Pixie. 2 for a 2/2 flying is decent. And, yeah. It's decent. Tap to add a green or blue mana to your pool. So, interesting. I like it. In a Simic deck, sure, why not? There's not a lot of early plays. I mean, Land Elves are gone. Golden Goose on turn 1. This on turn 2 gets you some ramp. Oh, Black Lance Paragon. 2 mana, 3/1, flash. So, yeah. Okay. In the right deck, I can see this being a value. It's a knight, so it benefits. 3/1 flash, which means you're going to use it defensively to maybe kill something. You may not block with this itself. So flash. When Black Lance Paragon enters the battlefield, target knight gains Death Touch and Lifelink till end of turn. Now, the only problem with this is you're not choosing when it's of value, right? It's 2 mana, but it's only a value when your opponents swing into it. There's some argument when if you attack and they block, or you need the extra life gain, maybe, but there's better cards for that. However, in a Knights Matters deck, maybe this has some value. That's not as good. I don't think it's as good as this. Myself. The flash is nice because you can surprise your opponent. But for 2 mana, there might be better ways. There's better ways to get rid of an opponent's creatures for 2 or 3 mana in black. I think. Now the lifelink is nice. I'd have to see it. Yep. Festival Festive Funeral. 5 mana, 4 and a black. Target creature gains -X/-X on a turn where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. So decent late game removal. 5 mana is pretty steep. I don't remember what the cost of Obnixilus's Fury is. We could check it. I think it's 4. So we'd have to have at least, you know, well, even at 5, we'd be better off playing Obnixilus's Cruelty. I think it's 4. We can check it sometime. Not bad. I can see this having a place. Definitely limited. Weaselback Redcap. 1 for a 1/1. If it doesn't have haste, I don't see it being excellent. Although on turn 2 it swings for 3. But there's just better cards in the 1-drop slot that you'd want to see. Although Diagonal Monkey is gone. So did I see? I don't remember if I've seen another 1-drop haste. Alright. So it could be good if we don't see a better 1-drop in the red for red aggro. But I'm going to have to imagine there's something better that's a common. So if that's at common, we see something at uncommon, most likely. Wildwood Tracker, 1 green for a 1/1. So is it a land werewolf? Let's see. It's an elf warrior. Not even knight. Boo. Whenever Wildwood Tracker attacks or blocks, if you could control another non-human creature. Okay. So if you end up with a second creature on turn 2, it can swing for 2. I mean, that's decent in limited. I don't see it being of use because we're going to want things like Gilded Goose into Paradise Druid for most green decks, so I don't see this being that amazing in green constructed. There might be a place for it if it's super aggro, but green's not usually that way. That's more of a red thing. Ironically, it would be okay in red but it doesn't have haste. But it would be okay if this was a red card. Ironically. Better than this. Shinecaster. 1 white blue. That's a color combo I don't really often play. So this can be fun. Flying Vigilance 1/1. If you control an artifact, it gets +1/+1. If you control an enchantment, it gets +1/+1. So it is a decent 3-drop if you control both an enchantment and an artifact, and maybe that's a thing white-blue can do pretty regularly. I mean, white's pretty enchantment heavy as it is, and artifacts like blue likes artifacts, so it's probably not hard to have. But on turn 3, that'd be hard pressed to have a 3/3 Flying Vigilance. I'd see this coming in as a 2/2 Flying Vigilance on turn 3 most often, which is still not terrible. Good card. I like it. I can see room for that somewhere. Covetous Urge. Why can't I remember what blue-black is again? They're the evil scrying and surveil people. Oh, well. It'll come to me after I'm done recording. So 4 blue-black hybrid. Sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from that player's... Reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from that player's graveyard or hand and exile it. You may cast that card as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any... That's interesting. I like that. You basically get to steal the best card you've seen from your opponents. And then use it. Yeah, that's going to see some play. I have a feeling that's going to see some play. I mean, it's... In a blue or a black or a blue-black deck, this is perfect. Because it's exactly what they want to be doing. It's removing a threat from your opponent and then actually giving you value out of it. There's that Pyromancer again. Alright. We're getting there. We're not even halfway done. This is going to be a long video. I may have to split it into 2. But we'll just put the whole thing up, and if you guys nod off halfway through, then that's cool. We'll speed up as we start seeing duplicates as well. Eye Collector, flying 1/1 for 1. When Eye Collector deals combat damage, each player puts the top card of the library into the graveyard. Cool. That's pretty black. Go good in a black-blue deck. I can't still remember what they're called. Wolf's Quarry, 6 mana, 4 and 2 green. Create 3 1/1 green board tokens. With, when this creature dies, create a food token. So you get some... It's 6 mana, though. Although it does turn into 9 life. No, yeah, 9 life. So that's not... Yeah, I don't see this seeing much play. It's a little slow. It's too slow. If it was like... Be overpowered at like 4 mana, but 6 is too much. Witch's Cottage. This is the black common swamp. I like that. Oh, they all have little houses in them. So far. The ones that I remember seeing. This is actually... I really like this art. I like it. Witch's Cottage enters the battlefield tapped unless you go through more swamps. When it enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Okay. So on like turn 4, You can recur, and it just adds black mana. Not bad. Again, I like the fact. I would like this to be maybe with. I mean, this is a little harsh. It would slow things down, but I would like this to be what a swamp is. They do a thing. Maybe it comes into play untapped, but if you have 3 or more, it does the second effect. Something like that as the base land. Although they just have to print enough of these that you could have 4 of each. Anyways, I digress. I like the idea of land doing things. Because nothing there isn't just land pass. Land pass. Well, I don't think nothing, but it's a pretty sad feeling. Outmuscle, 4 mana, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, then it fights target creature you don't control. If at least 3 green mana was spent to cast the spell, the creature you control gains indestructible in turn. Okay. So, yeah, it's a green fight card. I like the indestructible clause with adamant in a mono green. That's going to be easy because it's mono green. Cool. Definitely more unlimited than constructed, although some jank decks will probably see this, you know, like between this and Fling. Green-red Fling out muscle decks, maybe. It gives you removal that green sorely needs. Sorcerer's Broom, those are cool. That is awesome. 2 mana, 2/1, okay. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, you may pay 3 mana. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Sorcerer's Broom. Oh, that's gonna. People are gonna wedge this in wherever they can. Definitely in like black, blue, sack themes. I like it. Interesting. 3 mana though to get a 2/1, and you're sacrificing a permanent, but that could be food tokens. So if you have 5 mana, you can sack to gain life and a broom. Sure. Still nothing. Not a lot of the stuff I really want. Happily Ever After is an interesting card. I did see this one. 3 mana enchantment in white. 3/1 white. At rare. When Happily Ever After enters the battlefield, each player gains 5 life and draws a card. Okay, so that's fine. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 5 colors among permanents you control, there are 6 or more card types among permanents you control, and or cards in your graveyard, and your life total is greater than or equal to your starting life total, you win the game. So if you keep your 5 life and you have 1 of each color in play, and you have 6 different permanent types between in play and graveyards, you win the game. People are going to try to win with it. I don't know how easy that's going to be. That's a very convoluted win condition, but it'd be fun. It'd be fun to see. 4 mana artifact, Weapon Rack. At common, Weapon Rack enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Move a +1/+1 counter from Weapon Rack on a target creature. Okay. So in Tokens Matters, in White Weenies, this could be a decent thing. It's a permanent buff. That stays even if they destroy Weapon Rack once you've done it. It is a tap effect, so it's going to be a little slow to roll out those 3 counters. If you have ways to, if you proliferate, like War of the Storm, War of the Spark, War of the Storm, War of the Spark. So there's some synergies here that could see play. Not terrible. Yeah. Run away together. Aw. 2 mana blue, 1 in a blue, instant. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by different players. Return those creatures to their opponent's hand. So it's unsummon for 2 mana instead of 1, but you can also bounce, maybe for value, bounce one of your own creatures that has an ETB. Hey, there's Fling. I was just talking about you. And you're reprinted. Yep, Fling. We've seen it. As additional cost, sacrifice a creature. Fling deals damage equal to sacrifice creature's power to any target. We all know what that does. Another gimmicky card in red. Usually red-green, because you want the big creatures to go with it. Steel Lance we saw. Marley Fairy we saw. Magic Mirror. 9 mana, 6 and 3 mythic rare artifact. Legendary. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each instance or sorcery card in your graveyard. So again, my Spells Matters deck, this could be good. So far, so good. We could easily get it down to 3 by like turn 3 or 4. You have no maximum hand size. Interesting. Beginning of your upkeep, put a knowledge counter on Magic Mirror, then draw a card for each knowledge counter on Magic Mirror. I'm sure I'm going to try to put it in there. I have one now, so I'm probably going to try to put it into my Spells Matter red-blue deck. I don't know how good it's going to be. Turn 3 or 4 probably, but there's a lot of things we can do on turn 3 or 4, so it may never actually go in. However, drawing more and more cards every turn is not a bad thing when you have no maximum hand size until you draw your entire deck and die. But for a deck that's meant to have access to a bunch of spells and cast as many as you can per turn, it's not a bad thing. We should ramp it up pretty quick if you can get to turn 4 or 5, 6, you know. Moonlight Scavenger, 6 mana, 4/5. Ouch. Yucky, yucky expensive. When Moonlit Scavengers enters the battlefield, if you control an artifact or enchantment, return target creature opponent controls. No. I mean, 4/5 is maybe in limited. Maybe in like super slow control decks, maybe. But, ew. Mistford River Turtle, 4 for a 1/5. Whenever Mistford River Turtle attacks, another target attacking non-human creature can't be blocked this turn. Okay. It's got a big enough butt that it can afford to attack. Turn 4, it's a little costly at 4 mana. However, it can't be blocked, so you can make a bigger creature that does more damage unblockable, but you're also in blue. So unless you're doing like blue-red, where you have lots of, well, of course, bad example right here. High toughness, low, like this. Maybe blue-black then? Sure, there's an example, but they're both 4 mana, so this is a super slow combo. And by that time, you can easily remove it. Okay. I think we saw this, yeah. Wicked Guardian. Okay. So 4 mana, 4/2. Slow. Wicked Guardian enters the battlefield. You may have it deal 2 damage to another creature you control. If you do, draw a card. Situational at best. So limited card maybe. Legendary Knights. Sir Farron the Henge Hammer. He rides a bear, so he's already awesome. He's a 2 green, 2/2, so he's a bear. When Sir Farron the Henge Hammer attacks another attacking creature gets +X until turn, where X is Saren's power. And now in a Knight's Matter deck, you're going to be buffing the powers, so that's pretty good. It's alright. Alright for a Knight in a Knight's deck. Turn into a pumpkin. 4 mana, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, draw a card. If at least 3 blue mana was spent to cast a spell, create a food token. I like it. I like the flavor. And it's food, so it tastes good. But, yeah, I don't know. Not my style. But I can see some people liking it. I can see why you like it. 5 mana. Oh, yeah, Clackridge Troll. Here we go. This is a card. It's got a lot of text on it. I have to read now. So, Clackbridge Troll. 5 mana, 8/8, trample haste. Beautiful. On its own, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that card. Trample haste for 5 mana, 8/8. That's going to do something. However, when Clackbridge Troll enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 3/0/1 white goat creature tokens. Beginning of combat on your turn, any opponent may sacrifice a creature. If that player does, tap Clackbridge Troll, gain 3 life, and you draw a card. So you're going to put them into play, and then they basically have a choice. They either give you 3 life and a card, which is excellent, love it, and tap Clackbridge Troll, or they take an 8/8 trample to the face. They have to, or they can block it and reduce the damage, or downright stop it. I like this card a lot. There's a lot to do. It gives a lot of interaction. Gaining 3 life and drawing a card is not negligible, especially in limited. This would be a bomb in limited. Like, you get this on turn, pack 1, pick 1. If this was my draft, this would just slam, boom, I'm in black. I like it. I can also see some uses for it in constructed, especially if you have ways to remove the goats. Like a board wipe that won't kill the troll, maybe? I don't know. But I like it. That's a fun card. Not going to go in my Wolves deck. That's where I'm focusing is my Wolves. And I still haven't seen any of the stuff I actually need. So this is... we're almost halfway there. We have a little bit of time. Tall as a Beanstalk. 4 mana enchantment Aurora. 3 and a green enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3 and has reach. And is a giant in addition to other types. So I have seen a couple other Giants Matter. And a couple of the Giants and Giants Matters. So there's like a mild Giants Matter theme. This is cool. It's 4 mana, +2/+3 and reach. I mean, reach is in limited, sure. Put it in limited. Maybe in the sideboard against fly if it's like a best of 3 limited. Just so that you can block flyers. But yeah, it's an alright card. There might be something if there is more to the Giants Matter theme than I'm seeing. There's like a board wipe that doesn't affect Giants, for example. Blow your house down. The big bad wolf. I want to put it in my deck just because there's a wolf in it. So obviously not in any of the colors I need, but that's okay. 2 and a red. Up to 3 target creatures can't block this turn. Destroy any of them that are walls. So sideboard card for maybe against like a blue control in limited, where they use walls to slow your creatures down, or just to get through damage on turn 3 or 4 or 5 or late game. So definitely some interesting prospects here. I like the card just based on the art and the flavor. Blow your house down, blowing down walls. Big Bad Wolf, love it. Merfolk Secret Keeper, we saw this one. Yes. Fell the Pheasant. Oh, Fell the Pheasant, of course. I kept wanting to read that as Peasant, but no, Fell the Pheasant. 2 mana, Fell the Pheasant, deals 5 damage to target creature with flying, create a food token. So sideboard card, this is Plummet with a bonus. I think Plummet was 2 mana. God, it's been a while. I can't remember anything right now. This cold medicine has got me so fogged. I'm pretty sure Plummet was 2 mana, so this is Plummet with a food token. Although Plummet was destroy target creature with flying, not deal 5 damage, but 5 is close enough. I mean, there's not a lot of flying creatures that are going to survive that, typically. He says, until it happens to him over and over and over. Burning Yard Trader, 5 mana, 3/3, trample haste. That's a red card. Trample and haste. When Burning Yard Trainer enters the battlefield, another target knight you control gains +2 and 2, trample and haste until end of turn. Okay. Now 5 mana, you're not likely to cast 2 when this is relevant. So you're not likely to cast Burning Yard Trainer and another knight when this is relevant. However, giving +2/+2 and trample to another knight is not irrelevant, and he can be, you'll likely be buffing knights, so he won't be a 3/3. Yeah, I like this. Now, we're already in white-black for knights. I don't know if we have room to splash red, but maybe it's going to be hard with the mana base to do 3. Yeah, we'll see. This could be something. There could be another, not just white-black. There could be a red-black or a red-white Boros. There could be something here. Fairy Vandal, we saw that. Okay, that's something. That's one of our Wicked Wolves. Or one of our lands if we decide, but I think we'll do the cards first. We have land is okay. Unexplained Vision, 5 mana, 4 and a blue, draw 3 cards. If at least 3 blue mana was spent on this card, scry 3. So, interesting. 5 mana, draw 3 cards is okay. Scrying 3 now. I think you do this in order, so you would do the draw 3 cards and then check for adamant, because the way it's printed, if it was adamant on top, then you do that first. So you would draw the 3 cards and then scry 3, which is less good than scrying and then drawing. So it's a balance thing at common. If it was the other way around, this would be, I think this would be in a lot of blue decks, if it was scry 3 then draw 3 for 5 mana. At this way, it may fit in some decks. If I'm reading that right. It may be that adamant triggers, like goes on the stack or something. Maybe something with stack where you draw 3 cards, but while that affects on you do adamant, I don't know. If you can do adamant first, this is great, I think. Again, it's outside of my comfort zone. I don't play that blue. I'm trying, but I don't. Fling. Let me know what you think of that. If it was, yeah. Ironveil Tactician, 3 mana, 1 and 2 white for 2/3 flying. That's not terrible, especially in limited. A 2 mana, a 2/3 flying for 3 on, it's not terrible. And for 2 mana, so you can play this the turn before you can play Ironveil if you have nothing else. Tap up to 2 target creatures, so you can get your turn 1 creature through. If you have a 2/1 lifelinker, you could do that, and then turn 3 put out a flyer. Yeah, that's not a terrible card, especially in limited. I'd put that in. I don't know if I'd be excited about it, but Tomb Raider. Oh, Tome Raider. Okay, that's better. Tome Raider, not Tomb Raider. 3 mana, 1/1 flying. Ouch. When Tomb Raider enters the battlefield, draw a card. So, 3 mana, draw 1 isn't amazing. On a 1/1 flying body, though, it's better than nothing, especially limited. You're probably better off playing like a Radical Idea. If it had Flash, if this had Flash, maybe. Enchanted Carriage. Oh, I see what they've already done. That's adorable. Enchanted Carriage, 5 mana, artifact vehicle, 4/4. When Enchanted Carriage enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white mouse tokens. Crew 2. So basically, Cinderella story, the mice turn into horses and pull the carriage. Boom. I love it. Just the flavor alone wins this card. I don't think it's a great card, but I like it. I mean, you do get 6/6 for 5. That's not nothing. In an Artifacts Matters deck, maybe. I just like the card. That's awesome. Yeah, we saw Henge Hammer. Piper of the Swarm. I did see this one. 2 mana, 1/3. Ratchet Control of Menace. So for a rats deck, we do have like all sorts of rats. We have those whatchamacallem rats that you can have as many of them as you want in your deck. So giving them menace means they're harder to block as well, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. Create a 1/1 rat token for 2 mana with menace. 1/1 with menace in this case. So flooding the board with rats. 4 mana, sacrifice 3 rats, gain control of target creature. And that just makes this card awesome. I could see a deck built around this. Again, it's not going to be tier 1. It'd be a fun little deck to play though. Which is right up my alley. So that's something I'm going to look at. Nice. I like it. Let's have to see what else we have for rats, because giving rats menace seems like a good thing. Queen of Ice. So is that Elsa or the Ice Queen from Narnia? I don't know. Let's find out. 3 mana, 2/3. Rage of Winter for 2 mana, tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Still unclear. They can both do it. Whenever Queen of Ice deals combat damage to a creature, tap that creature. Doesn't untap. Still unclear. They're ice wizards. I like it. 3 mana, 2/3 with what card was it? Chillbringer? And Chillbringer was playable. What was its cost? It was 3, right? That was 4, I think. But it was a bigger creature. I think Chillbringer was a 3/3, but again, it's a defensive card in blue. This is what they want. 3 mana means it can block a lot of aggro creatures early on. Starting on turn 3, and it can tap 1 on turn 2, so it can't attack for 2 turns. And then, yeah, I like it. Sorcery speed, so you have to turn your turn, which is less good now that I'm thinking about it. If it was instant speed here, it'd be perfect. Sorcery speed means it gets to untap. Well, no, it means you only get 1 turn away from it, because it doesn't untap during the next turn, so you get 1 turn. That's okay. I think this will see play, especially limited. I think it'll see play in some blue control decks, just because it is a blocker that taps it. Even if it dies, it takes creature. It slows down aggro. I like it. 4 mana, Ogre Knight. 4 mana, 3/4. Okay. When Ogre Knight attacks, other attacking gains menace on turn. Okay. My Knights Matters deck, especially in limited, I can see that. I have to go 2 or 3 colors though. Need the Black Knights. Wish for more folk. We saw Corridor Monitor, another 2 mana, 1/4. When enters the battlefield, untap target artifact you control. Again, 2 mana, 1/4 is not amazing in a blue deck that wants the fat, but I could see it, especially in limited. Untapping artifact could have some value. If you have a way to recur, like bounce Corridor Monitor back to your hand, but probably not a whole card to do so. I don't know. It'll depend on the deck. Very limited play. Trapped in the Tower, Rapunzel style. 2 mana, 1 and a white, or a enchanted creature without flying. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and activated abilities can't be activated. Okay. Pacifism, but only against non-flying creatures. Cool. Bell of the Brawl. 3 mana, 3/2. That's a black card. 3 mana, 3/2 is pretty common with menace. Yep. It's checking all the boxes. Whenever Bell of the Brawl attacks, other knights you control get +1/+0 until end turn. So this is a thing I'm seeing with the knights, is that you don't just get a lot of static buffs on your knights. It's when they attack. Knights are charging into the fight. They're smashing people in the face, and that's awesome. I want to build a knight aggro deck because, look, in Dungeons and Dragons, I play my fighter. It's, if available, Cavalier. He's charging in, smashing people in the face. That's just me. I like it. This set is really singing to me. That Arthurian legend really... Oh, we saw Happily Ever After already as well. So that's 2 of those. The Arthurian part of this is really speaking to me. And the wolves. I love this set so far. It's doing things that I like. Do we see this one? Ardenvale Paladin. I don't remember. 4 mana, 2/5. At least 3 white mana was spent to cast a spell and enters with a +1/+. Okay. So it's a 3/6. It's not much for attacking. It's a pretty big butt on turn 4. Mono white weenies with a knight theme, or white black with knights. I could see this. I could see this being a thing. I'd have to actually sit down with the set and see what other options we have in the knight realm. There's the queen again. Insatiable Appetite. 1 and a green instant. You may sacrifice a food. If you do, target creature gets +5/+5 until end turn. Otherwise, that creature gets +3/+3 until end turn. So this is a giant growth, but giant growth is only typically 1 green for +3/+3. Sacrifice a food to give +5/+5. Now, I don't like this card. It's a combat trick, especially in constructed. You're more likely to get 2 for 1 than anything. You're giving up 3 life to give it a +5/+5, so there has to be some other benefit. It situationally good. Probably won't see much constructed play. definitely going to see. Definitely, I would have it in a draft or limited deck, assuming there isn't something better in that sort of. Because combat tricks do better in limited, where removal is a little more scarce, a little more freely available. Steel Claw Lance and Joust. Yeah, we saw those again. Knight's deck. So yeah, some combination of red, white, green. What is red, white, or red, white, black? What is that's? I don't even know what. I'm escaping the name of that wedge, but oh, and another magic mirror, another mythic. It's unfortunately not a mythic I'm probably going to use. It'd be nice if you could trade mythic, for, mythic cards around. Well, one of those days. It'd be cool if we could trade, even if it was just like mythic for mythic. But people get stuck with shit mythics all the time, I guess. Tempting Witch. We saw Memory Theft, black card. 2 and a black. Why did I say 3? 3 mana, 2 and a black. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card. Choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You may put a card that has an adventure that player owns from exile into the player's graveyard. Okay. Very situational. Not as good as. Why can't I remember the name of the card? 1 black. I shouldn't do this when I'm sick. Okay. Very situational sideboard card, I would say, if you see a guy with a lot of adventures. This takes, if you cast the adventure part of an adventure card and it's sitting in exile waiting to become a creature, you can exile that, so he can't do that. That's alright. And he discards a card from his hand, an online card that you choose, so that's good. You can do this at 1 mana. You can do it at 2 mana. So I don't know if the extra mana is worth it unless you're playing against someone with a lot of good adventure cards. So sideboard card for sure. Or if you just need that removal because you didn't get anything better. Didn't say please. 1 blue. Counter target spell. Okay. That's a pretty blue card. 1 blue counter target spell. Its controller puts the top 3 cards of the library into their graveyard. Okay, so slight buff. If you're on the mill plan, that's great. If there's graveyards matter themes where your opponent's graveyard matters, cool. Maybe if you have a spell that's not going to do anything, you can do this to mill yourself if there's a reason. It's a counter spell. Well, not a counter spell because I think counter spell is 2 blue, but 1 and 2, 1 blue, counter target spell. Silver Flame Squire. Did we read this one already? 2 mana, 2/1. Yeah. That's a slightly less good white weenie card. Target creature gets +2/+2 until turn and untap it. So you can use this a late game to attack and then just untap it for defense after, but not a great card. That's like I have nothing else to put in my deck limited card, I think. We saw that already. We saw that. Did we see her already? No. Circara the Bold. 3 red. 3 red and a red. Whenever Circara the Bold or an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Circara deals 1 damage to any target. So yeah, I definitely see this as like a curved top in like a red aggro burn style deck. Being able to, at this point in the game, you're probably out of cards in your hand, so every opportunity you get to draw your burn spells is good. The other cards that do this, I don't know which of them are still limited or still in standard anymore. I haven't sat down with it. I could see this being a thing in a Knight's deck, but more so see it in like a mono red burn deck. Burn aggro. Alright. Another rare card. We can use those. That counts as getting another Wicked Wolf. So I'll take them. I need 3 or 4 of those. Oh, there's Kara again. I got 2. Nice. Let's start here. Saw it. Do we see the slipper? No. 1 in a red. Equipped creature gets +1 and has haste. Oh yeah, we did see this way early. There's the blue island, blue special island. Enters battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more lands. When Mythic Sanctuary enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard top of your library. Cool. This is definitely 100% going into my blue-red deck. It has to. That's awesome. For that deck. Or any spells matter deck. Blue loves this card. Yeah, see, this is awesome. I'm excited to play an island. Well, not that excited, but excited enough. Sir Alan? Yeah, Sir Alan the Lion's Claw. 3 red, so it's like the white counterpart. Put these 2 together. So it's a 4/4 knight for 5 with first strike. Cool. When Sir Alan the Lion's Claw attacks, other creatures can go to +1/+1 until end turn. Awesome. Nothing wrong with that. That goes into a knight's deck. That's the thing with knights. Like, on their own, this is not an amazing card. First strike 4/4 for 5 is okay. Common. Not quite common. It's a pretty okay card. But you add the knight buffing, all the knights doing things together, which is odd, because this one doesn't do anything for knights. Now that I'm looking at it, it takes advantage of it, but it doesn't do anything for knights. What if this was, like, pay 1 and tap a knight you control to deal 1 damage? Ooh. Except then it wouldn't trigger her ability. Never mind. Ooh, the green one. No, this isn't. This is the rare. Okay. What does this do? I haven't seen this one yet. Castle Garenberg. Actually, I think I need this. I'm pretty sure this goes in my deck. It's green and it's a land and it's good. So it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a forest, remembering that the common special forest counts as a forest. Tapped out of green mana, okay. Tap 4. Add 6. Tap 4 and tap to add 6 green mana. Spend this mana only cast creature spells or activate abilities. Okay. So it's like, how often are we going to need that extra mana? That's 6 mana. So that would allow us to do something like cast one of our 4-drops, because we're really big on the 4-drops. So it would allow us to cast a 4-drop and a 2-drop, or, you know, a 4-drop and 2 Gilded Goose or something, or cast a spell. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going in. Probably 4 of. Straight up. I like it. I'm excited about cards that land that does things. Sorry. We're almost halfway there. We've seen a few cards for our deck. We're getting close to finishing it. I did get one of the Garrux I need as for buying the pre-order, which is awesome. Garen Brig Carver, 4 mana. 3 and a green. Adventure. So it's a 4 mana, 3/2. Terrible for green. That's a red card. Instant. Shields Might. 1 and a green. Target creature +2/+2 until end of turn. I don't like this card. I mean, I like that it's got utility. It's 2 cards, so it takes the place of a slightly bad creature and a slightly bad spell. It's not as good as Giant Growth. Is Giant Growth in this set? I don't even know. Is Giant Growth in this standard? I don't know. In a draft, this might see something, maybe. Yeah, in limited, maybe. That's it. That's not seeing constructed play. Mad Ratter. 4 mana, 1/2. Ouch. It better do something good. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create 2 1/1 black rat creature tokens. So in the rats deck, you go red, black rats and throw him in? I don't know. That is a weird card. That, interesting. It's weird. You get 2 rats, so if you do a Rats Matter deck with red in it, I don't know how much card draw we get in red, black. Some. Here's the Blue Knight. Sir Eleonora the Discerning. Oh, I am so serious. 3 blue, just like all of them. 5 mana for the legendary knights. Sir Eleonora the Discerning's power is equal to the number of cards in your hand. When Sir Eleanor enters the battlefield, draw a card. Spells your opponent cast that targets Sir Eleanor costs 2 more to cast. Okay, a lot going on there. This is a blue card, for sure. Couple it with the Magic Mirror, I think? No. Yeah, Magic Mirror. We have no matched hand size. You can get a very big creature, but the toughness is still 4, so read into that what you will. I see this seeing play in some blue decks. You get to draw a card, so it's automatically at least a 1/4. It replaces itself, so it's a 1/4. That's hard to kill because it costs 2 more to cast your spell that'll kill it. And if you get a lot of card draw, maybe a control deck. There could be some room for it. I don't see myself playing it. Lovestruck Beast. Aw, Beauty and the Beast. Wait, did it play a sound? I think it played a sound. I gotta start listening. I think I heard a sound. Hope you guys can hear that. I have the sound pretty low. We may have to see if we can trigger those later. Anyways, Lovestruck Beast. 3 and a green for a 5/5. That's awesome. Holy crap. Right? Right there. Boom. 3 for... Alright. Lovestruck Beast can't attack unless you control a 1/1 creature. Aha, caveat. So it's a defender unless... Heart's Desire, Sorcery Adventurer. Create a 1/1 human creature token. Beautiful. So it can attack as long as your 1/1 stays on the board. So he has to protect it. But a 3 mana 5/5, if you can cast Heart's Desire or be good on turn 4 because you could do both at once, but then you still can't attack. Yeah, it's going to be tricky, but it's a good card. I like it. It's good flavor. I can see this being something. A 3 mana 5/5, if you can keep a 1/1 on the board, green-white tokens. Anybody? Yeah. Of course, green-white tokens usually buff your creatures, so you're not likely to see a 1/1 human creature token. Or a 1/1 creature. Interesting. Interesting. Next pack, we're coming up on the halfway mark. Okay, we're going to start listening for noises when I do some of these. Yep. Here's the common white plains. Idyllic Grange enters battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more plains. When Idyllic Grange enters the battlefield untapped, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature control. See, like, this is awesome. What deck plays a lot of plains? White weenie deck. What does a white weenie deck want? 1/1 counters. Boom. 4 of. There's the red one. 3 more mountains. It is itself a mountain as well, so the more you play them. When Dwarf Mine enters the battlefield untapped, create a 1/1 dwarf creature token. Yeah. So 1/1 creatures, obviously, red deck's aggro. 1/1 creatures, maybe something with Cavalcade of Calamity. It's not as good as the red one, I would say, but it does get you a 1/1 token on turn 3 or 4. Okay, maybe not as good. Less exciting to me, but it is a chump blocker that you can use to save your good damaging creatures. So, not terrible, and still, by turn 4, as long as this isn't one of your first 3 mountains, it's fine. It's a free creature. Edgewall Innkeeper, 1 green for a 1/1 human peasant. Not pheasant, peasant. Whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure, draw a card. So if you're building an adventure deck, yes. Otherwise, probably no. There's better stuff in the 1 mana slot. Gilded Goose. Which is almost, not quite, Birds of Paradise. Close. Less powerful. I think it's a better balance. I think Birds of Paradise is overstrong when it's in standard. Overly strong. Overstrong. Who taught me how to speak English? No, not going to say. Not going to say it. Cauldron's Gift. 5 mana. 4 and a black. If at least 3 black mana was spent to cast a spell, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. Again, we've seen that blue-black. Definitely has a Graveyards Matter self-mill theme going on. Here's another example. You may choose a creature card in your graveyard. If you do, return it to the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. I like this card. I can see some use in it. 5 mana is a little slow, but again, you're in blue-black. You're maybe playing a slow, as long as you're not playing like mono-black aggressive. But even then, as a curve topper, black-white knights, you can bring back a knight with a +1/+1 counter on it. Lots of things this can do. I can see this being in a lot of decks. Wow, 3 Magic Mirrors, and it's a card I'm probably not going to play. Somebody want them? Trade them for some Wicked Wolves? I'll do it. Although we have seen some cards that benefit from that. There we go, another Wicked Wolf. We might be up to 4 now, and we can start getting our lands. Yep. Prized Griffin. There it is, a white griffin. 5 mana, 3/4 flying limited card. Moving on. Sorry. That is great. Ginger Brute, 1 mana, 1/1 with haste. I'm putting that in my red deck. Almost a Diagonal Monkey, minus the damage when it dies, claws. For 1 mana, Ginger Brute can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. Run fast you can, can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man. 2 mana, and it's a food token, well, not quite, it's food. So, hey, wait a minute. So it can be sacrificed to things to say sacrifice food. It is food. I love this card. It may not do anything. It may not be good at all, but I love this card. I mean, let's drag the pun out for all it's worth. It is a very flavorful card. 1 mana, 1/1 with haste is okay. I'd put that in my red deck. I'm thinking maybe just for memes. Can't be blocked. So if you don't have another one for next turn, you have nothing to do, or you do have another one, but you have your free mana, can't be blocked, so you get your 1 damage in. You sacrifice it to gain 3 life. Or sacrifice it to other food things. I love it. I love it a lot. Okay, Ginger Brute. Glad I saw that. Return to nature. 1 and a green. Instant. Destroy target artifact. Choose 1. Choose 1. Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, exile target card from the graveyard. So this is like, yeah, naturalize. I think it was 2 mana for naturalize, but you can main deck this because there's a lot of pull stuff from the graveyard matters theme. So you could technically main deck this. This is interesting. I'm going to have to think about this because typically naturalize ends up in the sideboard against those decks that use artifacts or enchantments. But because this also can exile from the graveyard, there might be some benefit if you can squeeze it into a main deck. Probably still a sideboard card. at the end of the day. Probably still not quite there. If it had an effect that you could use regenerate target creature, +1/+1 token, something, maybe. Probably still sideboard guard, but very close. I like it. I like seeing that they're iterating on some of these and making them slightly more useful. Yes. Another one of those. I'm pretty sure we need 4 of those, so any ones that we get now will be good. Whew. Oh, did we hit the halfway mark? I don't know. We're going to do this pack. Yeah, this is the halfway pack. Technically, the previous one would have been the halfway pack, right? Yeah. Charm Sleep, we saw Fairy Guide Mother. Interesting play there. Not a godmother, but a guide mother. Shows you where to go, and doesn't tell you what to do. 1 mana, 1/1 flying. Okay. Yeah. Especially limited or flying themed decks. Sure. 2 mana, 1 in white for the adventure. Gift of the Fae. Target creature is +2/+1 and flying till end of turn. So if you don't need it, if you have other flyers out, if you have another turn 1 flyer out, sure. Yeah, limited for sure. I don't. Maybe in a flying theme deck, but if you're using a flying theme deck, then the adventure really has nothing other than a +2/+1, which is still not terrible, but there's better options. I believe, I'm going to say this now because I just thought of it with this card, if for any reason this doesn't resolve, if it doesn't resolve, if it gets countered or the creature gets removed and this doesn't resolve, you don't exile it. It doesn't get to become a creature, I believe. I would have to read the rules again. You may cast this card in its adventure after you do exile it. You may then cast it as a creature. So I'm pretty sure the deep text says that it has to resolve to be exiled. Pretty sure. Yep. Useful Knight, sure. 2 mana, 2/2, so a bear, or a fox. As long as you control an artifact or an enchantment, Flutterfox has flying. So, I mean, definitely limited. A 2 mana, 2/2 is playable. In a white deck, you're going to have enchantments. In a flying theme deck, you're going to have probably enchantments and artifacts. So I can see this card being something. I don't know if it's constructed playable. Probably not. We saw him already. Joust we've seen. What's this? That could be anything we want it to be. Oh, the white rare. All right, let's see what this baby does. I'm sure it's White Weenie written all over it. Castle Ardenvale enters the battlefield tapped on the plains. 4 mana for a 1/1 white human token. But late game, when you have all the extra mana, why not? Probably not good overall. Like, I wouldn't say this is broken, although we have seen, what was the Legion's Landing? What was its cost to create? But they had lifelink, so they were a little better. Not a bad card. Like, in late game when you have the extra mana, this is good. Because what else are you going to do? Might as well tap it and get a creature. You can tap it at the end of your opponent's turn to haste-like those creatures in and still have access to the mana. So, yeah, that's basically a 1/1 white creature with flash. Because it doesn't say sorcery speed, so 4 mana for a 1/1 with flash isn't amazing, but chump blocker if you need it, if you really need it, yeah. Again, I just like I like land that does stuff. Okay, quick break, and we'll open the rest of the packs. You guys won't see the break unless I cut it here, but I won't, because I'm lazy.